crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying cars and machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, all passion, all action, when it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing, when it takes, we are SailGP.
Located in the heart of the Atlantic Ocean is the island nation of Bermuda, one of the most scenic destinations in the world and home to the Great Sound, the ideal setting for Event 10. This is the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. Day 2 brings increased pressure on the 9 international teams vying for a place in today's event final, as well as points towards qualifying for the grand final later this summer in San Francisco. Alongside Olympian Stevie Morrison and former world champion and one of Bermuda's great exports, Emily Nagel, I'm Todd Harris. After the dramatic events, the last event in Christchurch, the season's overall leaderboard has seen plenty of change, with New Zealand the new leaders and reigning champions Australia 9 points back in second place. Spain and France are separated by a single point for the battle for third. Rockwell, Denmark, and the U.S. team occupy positions 5th and 6th overall. Before we go racing today, let's take a look back at yesterday's highlights here in Bermuda.
It was all action in Bermuda, even before the official racing started. The United States SailGP team capsized and damaged their wheel in practice, which meant they were unable to race this weekend. Race 1 yesterday, and all eyes were on Australia to see how they would respond after their crash in Christchurch.
Perfect start for the Australians, back with a bang here in Bermuda.
The Australians made a statement in race 1, sailing fast and clean with an epic lead.
Tom Slingsby with a beautiful rebound to take the win.
Perfect work by them.
Behind, Canada defended hard against the black foils. And look how close they are.
Canada have got the advantage here. Brilliant by Robertson. It's going to be Canada bringing it home second.
Race 2 and Germany tried to match Australia off the line, but unforced errors saw them slip back.
Germany with a big dip, and they came almost to a complete stop.
Canada took the right-hand side up the first upwind and made huge gains to overtake Australia. But Tom Slingsby fought right back.
Watch out, Canada, you've got to keep clear here. Australia's got the right of way. Aggressive manoeuvre by the Aussies. He forces them off the foils. Lead change.
Australia and Canada take the 1-2 again.
And the Australians do it. Back to back, they work their magic.
With Denmark taking critical points in third. Race 3 was all about Spain.
Here we go.
Oh, what a start by Botin at the top of the line, the only boat at full speed.
While Spain sailed away for their victory, Denmark made sure of second place.
Oh, so very close as Nikolai Sehested is running the Australians off course, and Dane goes full Viking on the Aussies.
Solid. Good comeback today.
So after one day of racing in Bermuda, the Australians, winners of 2 out of 3 races yesterday, they sit on top of the leaderboard with the Canadians in second. Rockwell, Denmark, and the Kiwis are tied for third with 22 points, just 3 points back of the Spanish in fourth. Emirates, GBR, Germany, and France are going to need flawless results to have any chance of reaching the top 3. 2 fleet races will kick off today's racing. SailGP awards 10 points for each race, went all the way down to 1 point for last. Then the top 3 teams on points will race in the event final in a winner-take-all race. Let's take a look at today's course with Stevie Morrison.
Stunning day on the Great Sound in Bermuda today, and as the clock counts down to 0, the boats need to be behind the start line. It's a dash to Mark 1, and then the course opens out. The F-50 sail at an angle to the wind to generate speed, so we see them take their own path between gates. At each gate, they can turn left or right. It's lighter winds today, so the course is a little shorter. The wind will still be shifty, and we've seen that does give the opportunity for the crews to sail less distance and make some overtakes. It's going to take some accurate, aggressive manoeuvring, push the boat to the limits, and you can finish first in front of the fans out there today.
So with only 9 teams out on the water, with the U.S. unable to sail because of damage to their wing in practice, there might be a little extra room. For more on the conditions they will face, let's check in with the 4th member of our announced team, Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
as Stevie was saying, it's a little bit lighter on the Great Sound today, but still plenty of breeze for racing. Winds around 20 kilometres per hour, gusting up to 24 from the northeast. It's a little bit more right than yesterday. The sailors, they've got the light airboards, those big foils to help lift those F-50s flying around the racetrack. It should still be a great day of sailing here in Bermuda.
So 2 minutes away from the start of fleet race number 4, and then it'll be fleet race 5. The conditions look absolutely perfect, as Lisa pointed out. We've got a beautiful setting today as we bring to close the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. This is event 10 of 13.
The course for race 4 is 5 legs. The axis is 030. Wind is approximately 17 kilometers per hour.
All right, Emily Nagel, this is your neck of the woods as we come up on 90 seconds to go. Why is this day going to be so dynamic with the conditions that we have?
Well, it's going to be really interesting. With 17 kilometres an hour of wind, that means there is enough breeze to get up on the foils. We've got the light air boards, which does make that easier. But manoeuvres, there's still going to be a lot of them. We know it's a little bit shifty out there, so that means the wind direction's constantly changing by up to 20 degrees at times. So teams are really going to have their heads on a swivel, strategist, eyes out of the boat, and really looking for that next shift.
And we are 1 minute away.
Right, here we go, bottom left corner there, you can see the race to the final, and of course that's crucial. Australia, nice lead. New Zealand, they're hunting down Denmark. It's going to be a big fight. As we see on this pre-start, the boats are already in position. I think the lighter winds today, what that does mean is the disturbed air off the different wings is around about 3 or 4 kilometres an hour less wind when you're sailing in the wind shadow of some of these boats. That's a way bigger percentage of the wind speed than we're used to seeing on the other day. So the wind shadow and the disturbed air by the other boats around here is a bigger issue. New Zealand now well positioned, middle of the line. They struggled with their starting yesterday. There we have it, the yellow mark at the top with a black star in it. That's our pole position predictor. They're in the perfect position in theory to get to Mark 1, but Spain have got a job on from there, as of Great Britain. It's about timing now. France coming in with a lot of speed. Can Delapierre find a gap? He's too quick. That's going to get really tight. Howie threaded the needle through there. Canada well positioned. France seem to have got through, but it's about acceleration now. Switzerland really well positioned here. Nathan Outridge on board that Swift boat's going to roll over the top. He's going to be really, really fast in there. And there we go. France fouled to Denmark. That's a big moment for the French. They're going to have to drop back behind them. But for the Swiss, here we go. Here's your chance for glory.
And as they approach mark number 1, it's Nathan Outridge and the Swiss team out in front.
Saw New Zealand taking a bit of a swerve off our screen to the left-hand side. They're trying to clear a starting penalty. They were forced up over early. They're way out the back at the moment. They've got to drop behind the fleet by Mark 1. And the French have got to drop behind the British as well. We can see both boats trying to clear that penalty at the moment as Switzerland, Germany and Spain. Well, it's great news for the Spanish. They need a good result for their season chances. And there's a few of the more teams that are more used to being towards the back of the pack in Germany and Switzerland, leading things away. Good news for Canada as well.
So a little bit of chaos in the start, and France pays the price here in the very back right now. This has not been the event for Quentin Delapierre and the French.
And here on the bottom left, we've got the live speeds, currently 55 kilometres an hour, or 35k an hour, headed downwind, so not as fast as we were seeing speed-wise yesterday, but with those big foils, the foiling should be more consistent.
Stevie, this is a near disaster for Peter Burley and the Kiwis. They're currently in 7th place, and they're in that battle for that 3rd and final spot, but we saw this yesterday. They were in 8th and 9th place and came all the way back and got a top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be almost a standard move for the Kiwis at the moment. I think maybe they're trying to keep their fans entertained with the comeback, something like that. No panic yet on board the New Zealand boat, and that was a little bit made the fault of the French coming and putting a bit of an attack on them. So here we go. They're coming into this bottom gate. They're probably going to be looking to see what the fleet in front of them does. How do we find space? No such problem for the Swiss and Nathan Outridge. There you go. Saving manoeuvres, keeping it simple. It's all about trying to find the wind. Great shot looking upwind. Darker patches on the water. That's more wind. Generally speaking, good news if you can get yourself in more wind, but it's shifting, changing direction. And the Spanish, that's a little bit of an unforced error. They turned for the Mark II early, and they're going to lose a lot of speed here. Going to be a bit of a roadblock block in front of Germany, and that's good news for one team and one team only. That's the Swiss. They're away down the road. It looks light in front of the fans, bit less breeze at the bottom of the course. The crews need to allow for that.
So the Germans pass the Swiss. They move up a position. Everyone else just trying to find that pressure, trying to find that wind. Remember, it's a shorter course than we had yesterday. Just 5 legs today instead of 7.
Here we go, look at this shot here. We can see the Swiss, they're up and foiling. Boat leaning nicely on top of them. They were struggling for foiling stability a little bit yesterday. No doubt they will have looked at that in the debrief. Important to remember for everyone out there today, we've got our light wind package. We've got bigger foils on, more lift, and I think the crews are just more used to using this foil configuration.
Currently, wind speed across the course is looking pretty equal in strength, but that doesn't mean the shifts across the course are the same. As we can see here, the Swiss have done very well on that right-hand side of the course, extending that lead. Really cool to see the Swiss and the Germans in the top 2 in this race.
Yeah, 2 of the teams that are near the bottom of the overall standings right now. In fact, they are 9th and 10th respectively. And Nathan Outers, the skipper on board Switzerland, running things. They've got Lauren Matreau and Will Ryan, just to name a few, and that crew right now. Stevie, we've talked about this before, Emily as well. If you get out to a great start and you find space, especially on this Bermuda course, you're going to have plenty of options.
You've got all the options. I think Emily mentioned shifty wind. What do we mean by shifty wind? It doesn't mean it's up to something funny. It means it's changing direction a lot. So for people that are new to watching SailGP, these ladder lines on the course here give us an idea, A, of where the pitch is, where the fleet are moving. But if they're sailing more directly up the ladder line, and that can often mean there's a good wind shift. If the wind rotates in their favour, they'll be able to progress up these ladder lines quicker. We can see at the moment, roughly 45 degrees each way. They're crossing those lines, no problem. It's a fairly even shift in the wind.
And here is how the points are looking in this race to the final. So Australia still leading the charge, but Canada and Denmark solidifying their place in that top 3. And now the Spanish could be on the edge of qualifying.
And that's going to make the Aussies very happy, as they were taken off that top spot in the overall standings by the Kiwis. So if they can keep New Zealand out of that final, Stevie, that means that Australia will pick up 3 or 4 points on the Aussies, who lead them by 9 in the overall.
Yeah, it seems to be won't like that. Great camera angle here. We've got, shows the Swiss have got a really nice bit of space here. We heard Nathan Outridge there, happy to do 43 through the lulls. So a lull means a little bit less wind, and he's happy for the boat speed to only be 42 kilometres an hour. I think an interesting number for people to keep in their heads is every time they want to turn the boat, when they want to attack it, they've got to be up at around 43 to 45 kilometres an hour if they hope to stay on the foil. So stay tuned to those numbers at the top of the mast you can see right now. They give you a good idea of are they going to be able to do a good manoeuvre or not.
Coming up on this gate number 3, and then they'll make the turn back down the course. Remember, we've got 2 fleet races for you today, and then after those 2 fleet races, the top 3 teams will race in a one-off to take the title here in Bermuda at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix.
This is some race at the moment. Canada look quick to me, right-hand side of our screen. They've moved up well. Nathan there talking about the Canadians. He's not too worried about where they're going to go. Knows that Canada can't make the gate without another manoeuvre. Neither can Spain. So this is going to mean a big lead for the Swiss. Great performance after, I've got to say, a pretty disappointing performance by the Swiss yesterday.
2, 1. 2, 1. Taking it off.
A nice piece of sailing there for Switzerland and Nathan Outers as they make the turn first. They've got a sizable lead. Not really factoring into making the event final, I should say, today, Emily, but Switzerland, it's good to see them out in front, as you mentioned, with the Germans.
And any improvement that they can make from each race, each regatta is huge for them, because could put them in good position going into next season.
Look at this, here we go. We see it's very tight with Canada and Denmark at the top. That's a real battle for the final, but New Zealand, they were in a tussle with Australia. They've come out on top of it. They've worked their way up to 6th. They're slowly crawling back through the fleet. Germany will be the next boat in their sights. The New Zealand boat is definitely the fastest boat out on the racecourse when they give themselves space, but they're just struggling to get space off the start line at the moment.
So on the left-hand side, we'll continue to update the teams that are in the top 3 positions as it stands right now. Remember, one more fleet race still to come after this one, but we're on leg 4 of 5 right now, and New Zealand currently mired in 6th.
I don't want to go past.
I still wouldn't write the Kiwis off. Yesterday, we saw them, they didn't have the best starts, but then they would sail up through the fleet. And then when we looked at the data, it was really clear that they were actually sailing a lot less distance than the other boats around them in the packs. Really spotting all those wind shifts, and I think that's down to Liv Mackay at the back.
Head-to-head here, and we can see the speeds on the boats. There's some big differences, but that's generally when the boats are manoeuvring. You see those big changes. Here we go, Nathan.
So we're not going to lay in. We're just going to do 2 jives and keep it in a fast mode.
So what does he mean by that, Todd? He means he's not going to make it to the mark. Well, that was obviously a second ago. So there's the first of his manoeuvres, first of his jibes, turning the boat downwind. He's going to look to get somewhere nearer this yellow line before he looks to go back down, and that should mean he can make it to the next mark with no more problems. Big course, though, isn't it? Look how wide the course is. That's a lovely course for a sailor out there. Lots of tactical opportunities, lots of different textures. Won't be too far away, and we've got, you know, oh, sorry about the industrial language coming off the boat there. That's a bit of frustration. And as they go round the mark, Slingsby's got to keep clear of Emirates Great Britain in front of the fans.
Awfully tight, and look at this. Giles Scott is going to do the same thing that Nikolai Sandstedt did yesterday. Try and run the Aussies off course.
Oh, tensions are high on the water out there. Apologies for a bit more language we're hearing coming off the boats. They're fighting absolutely aggressively at each other, but big error by the Australians there. He's going to be frustrated. Lost another place. That's going to put the pressure on Slingsby to make the final here in Bermuda.
And we are going to have a very tight next race. On the points, we have 5 teams all neck and neck with points, with both Spain and New Zealand sitting on the outside of that top 3, tied on 27 points.
Well, I know the pressure's on for this next race, Todd Harris. Emily Nagel and the Oracle Cloud, they're going to have to crunch some very quick numbers for us out there. Luckily, we've got the best in the business to do that, but it's going to be really, really tight.
So the debrief begins. Congratulations to Nathan Outteridge and Switzerland. They get the win after a tremendous start. France rolls the dice, and it comes up full snake eyes as they go to the back of the pack and finish in 9th place. So with one race to go, everyone curious, what do the standings look like? Remember, it's only the top 3 teams that will race in the event final, and this next race will determine a lot. Disappointment on board for the French at Content de la Pierre. They tried something a little risky to start. Stevie, Emily, it did not pay off. So there's the report card through 4 races. It is Canada now in the lead with 32 points. Australia in second on 31, and Rockwell, Denmark in that all-important 3rd position. But Spain, New Zealand are still in the hunt on 27 points, and this 4th, 5th, and final race is going to be all determining to see who makes the event final.
And it was a disappointing start for the French, who came in with just too much speed and nowhere to go. They caused a little bit of chaos there with the British and the Kiwis and really mucked up the start for that whole pack. But that gave Switzerland the opportunity to come in flying. Now, they were 22 meters behind the line at the gun, but that only took 1 second to cross the line because they were going at 62k an hour and flew to Mark 1.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Look at this, thread the needle here by de la Pierre. I'm not sure there was barely room in there. So aggressive from the French. Came in a little bit too loose, a little bit out of control. And well, the French, New Zealand found themselves at the back of the pack after that aggressive move. For the Swiss fans out there, it was a nice race. They got themselves going, but Spain Huge result for the Spanish, and they now are right within shooting distance of Rottwell, Denmark. It's shifty out here on the race course, big race course though, and it shows that anyone in the fleet gets their nose clear, they can sail away and take a good win. Well done the Swiss.
Well, congratulations to Switzerland as they get the win, the first race of the day here on Sunday, and they are now standing by. Nathan Outteridge with Lisa Darmanin.
Nathan, we saw you got off that start foiling and then you made it look easy from there.
Yeah, it's much easier when you get a good start. Yesterday we were in the pack all day and it was really frustrating. So to come out and have a good race today means a lot to the team. You know, it's been a long few years for the team trying to get some good results. So it's nice to get a win on the board and, yeah, nice to get a good start.
That bottom gate, it looks quite light if you don't approach it really nicely. A lot of teams are foiling off the foils. Is it a bit lighter at the bottom or is it just sort of up and down the pressure?
It's definitely lighter at the bottom than the top of the course, and then the gas effects of the boats in the start and the first downwind make that bottom mark really tough. And yesterday we were off the foils a lot, so it was nice to see a few other people struggling today, and we weren't. So you know, we know we've got one more race to go, and it's amazing how much easier it is when you get a good start and you don't get affected by other boats. The boats are so much easier to sail. So yeah, I don't expect this next one to be as easy, but as we all know, it comes down to the start.
And Bermuda, it's a great place to sail an F50. Are we right on the edge of these conditions to hit the foiling manoeuvres?
It's probably bang in range for these light air boards. It's only actually a little bit lighter than yesterday, but because we've got the light air boards, they handle it so much easier. The tough decisions are whether you're actually going to do foiling tacks or you're doing the touch and go tacks, and we did a mixture in that race, and we spent a lot of time in the warm-up getting that right. But honestly, how good's Bermuda? It's been a while since we've been here, and I think everyone's going to be sad to get on planes and go home tomorrow.
Thanks, Nathan. We'll let you debrief and get ready for the next one.
Cheers. Thank you.
Nathan Outteridge, one of the smartest drivers you'll find in the entire SailGP fleet. And Stevie, he nailed it right on the head. If you get a good start, it really changes things for you. So the Swiss get the job done. But one of the most consistent teams over these 4 fleet races has been Spain. They start off with a 7th. Not so good on day number 1. Moved up to a 6th. But they ended day 1 with a victory in race number 3. And they come out today and finish in the top 3. So we join them now. Diego Botín, their wing trimmer, also Florian Trittel. Diego, congratulations. You kept your team in the mix. And now it's time to do a little math. You know exactly what you need to do in this last race to make sure you guys are in that final.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good first race, but we need to keep our minds thinking about winning also the next one, because it can be very tight and we need a good score for sure. We'll see how it develops.
And Diego, the manoeuvres look quite hard out on the water today. Just for the fans at home, roughly how much distance do you lose every time you have to do a tack or a jibe?
Yeah, you lose quite a lot of distance because in this light breeze it's very hard to beat after the maneuver, and that's where the big losses are, no? So minimizing the maneuvers is super key, and staying fast.
And Florian, can see you sat there, big day trimming the wing. What are the changes from yesterday to today? Is it a big change for you?
Well, actually, in terms of the wing, it's the same size, and yeah, all we have is to try to power it up a bit more. The breeze is slightly lighter, but at the same time, we're using the big foils, so that's also helping us to get through the maneuvers on the foils if we pull it off properly. And yeah, I guess the key to success in this last race will be to not make too many mistakes, especially at the beginning of the race, as the race is quite a bit shorter than yesterday. So yeah, light breeze and any wind shadows around the course with 10 boats, well, actually 9, sorry USA, but yeah, with 9 boats around the course.
Diego, you know exactly what you have to do. You guys currently sit in 4th place, 2 points back. So will you approach this start on this next race any different than you have in the last 4?
Nah, the plan is to do the same thing, try to, as we said earlier, no, get a very good score, because I'm sure all the teams fighting for it will be at the top of the field in the next race. So yeah, just keep doing the same thing.
Diego, appreciate your time. You and Florian Trittel and Nicole van der Velde, and we appreciate you guys sitting with us for a moment. Good luck on this last race. So that is the situation on board Spain. They've got a situation where they have to come up big in this next race if they want any chance of getting into that final. So it's all to play for here. Day 2 of the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. This is event 10 of 13. Another beautiful day in Bermuda as we can... SailGP's documentary series Racing on the Edge takes a closer look at Australia's huge crash in Race 1 in Christchurch and what this means for the series championship.
New Zealand top of line. France winding up at the bottom of the line. Watch for its turn white. We go. New Zealand absolutely flat out at the top of the line. They're going to struggle to control the boat with those big foils from here. France on the inside should lead at Mark 1, but it's going to be a sprint.
Oh, leg 2, and we see the finish line marks, which are going to be used at the end of the race on the left-hand side of your screen. It's very tight. The teams will have to navigate them carefully.
You're going to have to be careful through here.
Oh, watch out, Australia. They're on a collision course towards the mark.
No, Australia's blocked by Canada. They can't turn. They're going to crash. Contact, Australia turn, but they've run over the mark. The mark's underneath the boat. Carnage on board the Australian boat right now. That mark's ripping its way through the trampoline, and we've got to hope there's no major damage and no injuries on board.
Yeah, we're done. Sorry.
I guess I just pressed the board down too low. I don't know.
Here on the Great Sound, alongside Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris. We're all excited to see how this whole thing plays out and who will be in the event final. Bermuda is committed to preserving its unique ecosystem with eco-friendly practices and renewable energy initiatives which strongly resonate with SailGP's purpose. Bermuda's local community is integral to SailGP's sustainability vision, embracing green initiatives from reef preservation to sustainable tourism. Bermuda demonstrates that community involvement is key to environmental protection. Seagrass plays a vital role in capturing and storing carbon from the atmosphere. And for the last 3 years, SailGP has worked with the government of Bermuda and ClimateWise on helping protect it from disappearing due to overgrazing turtles. It's no surprise that world-class sailing events keep returning to Bermuda's waters with its commitment for a cleaner sporting future. With only one fleet race left before the cut to just the top 3 teams is made, the drama on the Great Sound will be epic. However, the main goal is making it to San Francisco in July and being in the top 3 in order to race in the grand final. And for teams currently on the outside looking in, the pressure is building. Coming into this event, the United States, Canada, and Emirates GBR are all in a top position and have just an outside chance of making the top 3 for the season grand final. For the United States, they made it even harder. They're not racing this weekend after a capsize damaged their wing.
You know, luckily no one got seriously injured. Some pretty bad damage to the boat, and to walk away from a crash of that nature and that violent is, you know, we're lucky. So maybe there is a long shot of the finals, and we have a great group here. There's no doubt we're going to bounce back.
Oh, Phil Robertson, he is an optimist, that man, isn't he?
Yeah, mathematically, it's got a lot better after Christchurch of making the final in San Fran. You know, we've got 4 events left. Anything can happen. Yeah, you don't want to be getting penalty points. You don't want to be missing races. And look, it's all open. It's never over until it's over.
Behind Canada, copy.
Pressure's lasting all
we
the way.
have been developing the way that we operate together. I think that's been something that has been taking a little bit of time with myself and Ben swapping around. You know, ultimately I'm the person who's got the most to learn. Before Christchurch, we were within a shot at making the final with a solid end to the season, and I think that is still alive. We'll certainly keep fighting for that, that's for sure.
on the final 5 minutes before the fifth and final fleet race takes place here in Bermuda on the Great Sound at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. And we are excited. The conditions could not be better. As Lisa Darman has reported, plenty of wind out there to get these boats up and foiling, and everyone now turning their attention to the leaderboard to see who will be in the top three. Stevie, the conditions are amazing, but as you look at that leaderboard, you look at Denmark, Spain, and New Zealand all still in the mix.
Yeah, I do, and I look at Denmark and Spain, and I wonder if Spain were to get past Denmark, that would increase that lead on the leaderboard, and I wonder if this one race could define the season for Denmark and Spain.
It definitely could, and there's only 5 points there, so it wouldn't be out of the question that Canada and Australia could also get knocked off of that top 2 position. So it could be a lot of excitement in this next race.
Yeah, plenty of action out there to come, Todd.
So there you go, 32, 31, 29, 27, and 27. Those are all the teams in play. And the Danes, Rockwool, Denmark, hoping for a big performance here if they can get it done. Stevie, I like their chances because they've been so consistent. They don't throw things away, but this start is going to be huge for them.
I think if he can get a good start, the Danish can run away with it. The pressure on these next 4 or 5 minutes for them.
So Rockwool, Denmark got a 4th in the last race. We'll see what they come up here. Just a short time ago, Lisa Darmanin caught up with Nikolai Sejested.
Nikolai, it seems a little bit more difficult today, obviously a little bit lighter and a bit more congested at that start.
Yeah, we just had to avoid a big crash with France, which really hurt our start. I'm surprised I didn't get a penalty, but after New Zealand, we are obviously going to avoid any sort of crash, even if we're the right away. Yeah, same story next start. We just got to get off the line with no penalty points or crashes, and then we'll do most of our work around the race course. That's where we sort of tend to do the best.
And points are pretty close, obviously trying to get into that final. Have you got the coach at the pit wall giving you plenty of information?
Yeah, I got plenty of points coming in my ear right now, who to beat and how to beat them, and it's a little bit hard sometimes when you got so many boats. I know we need to beat Spain and New Zealand and potentially also catch Canada and Australia, but it's really hard to manage so many boats. The best you can do is just to get a really good race yourself, and then hopefully that's enough for it.
I guess when you're in the pack, how hard is it? Is it shifty enough to be able to get out and away, or is it really kind of a battle?
No, it's really hard to make too many maneuvers. You just got to pick the right gate marks, and then you got to sort of let that decide how you do the upwinds and the downwinds. There's not really enough breeze to do short tacking, so it's really important you pick the right bottom and gate and then the bottom marks.
Well, it sounds like plenty of people talking to you. We'll let you go. Thanks for chatting.
No worries, thanks.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Nikolai Sejested. That is a very polished team, Stevie. You think about Nikolai Sejested, Katja Salsko-Iverson, and Tom Johnson all aboard.
Well, they've got a really strong team out there, that is for sure. The big grinders at the front there, Big Julius looking around at us there. Hallstrom, he's a man mountain, and he's putting a lot of horsepower down for a bit. I think Tom Johnson will be letting on quite hard here. Spent a lot of time racing in Bermuda in his time. Wing trimmer's a pretty big role out there today, trying to get the boat speed out of the boat. But as Nikolai said, he's got to try and get this boat off the start line, and for him and Katja, that'll be priority number 1.
2:30 now to go before the start of race 5. This is the final fleet race with all 9 teams. Usually be 10, but if you're just joining us, the USA had a practice incident. They capsized, damaged their wing. They're unable to sail this weekend, and that's going to cost them big in the overall standings, missing on those points. All right, Emily, this is your neck of the woods. What do you think with the conditions we have? Who do you like in this very important 5th and final fleet race?
Well, they're on screen now. The Spanish have done so well whenever the conditions have been like this, when they're using those light-head boards. The Spanish just know how to maneuver so well on them, and as we've seen today, they're already off to a great start. And I really hope they make it into the final.
Go at 140.
And the Kiwis, Stevie, they kind of are on the outside looking in, but as we saw yesterday, they have a way of finding, salvaging points here or there. May not get a 5th, but they'll get a 4th. May not get a 7th, they get a 6th. They find a way. But now this is a pretty tall mountain for Pete Burling to climb.
Well, it's something he's done before. I mean, how much was season 3 did we see Australia scraping finals and then winning them? That's all the Kiwis will be thinking. But ultimately, for me, I think if he nails the start, they can run away and win it. He's not started well all weekend. He's admitted that himself. Now's the time to step up because they need a good one.
New Zealand has gone 3rd, 4th, 4th. In this last race, they finished in 6th. So still an opportunity for them to get in that top 3. Remember, it's 10 points for a win, 1 point for last place. So all eyes are going to be on those 3 separate teams, Canada, Spain, and, of course, New Zealand. All teams now in the start box. We are just 1 minute away from the final race. So positioning is key, and I've got to wonder if France and Quentin Delapierre are going to abandon that last-second charge up the middle, because that could have been Sears' problem.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was trying a little bit too hard there. He had a difficult day yesterday. They just got themselves back into the overall standings in Christchurch, and then they had a hard day yesterday, and he's tried to force it a bit for me, I think, on that one. He's out the back now.
Yep.
He's going to be coming at a late run at it, but let's hope he doesn't go for the middle of the pack. Bottom of the screen, Canada well positioned. New Zealand a slightly better position than they were in other races. The Swiss again foiling. So, well positioned Canada right now. Switzerland, oh, it's a little bit loose on board the Swiss boat. Oh, it's more than a little bit loose. It's really loose on board that Swiss boat. They're going to put a bit of a roadblock in the middle of the line. That's great news for New Zealand. New Zealand, Canada, Australia are predicted to be the pole sitters at the moment, but here come France, left-hand side of your screen. How's your timing at the top here? There's going to be no room for the French. Spain are shutting them out. It's going to be a good start for Australia, and it's going to be a good start for Denmark. New Zealand are on the front row, and it's now a boat speed race. All 5 of them are well positioned, and Canada out the back. Disaster for the Canadians. Denmark, Spain, and New Zealand. It's a sprint.
The Great Dane, Nikolai Sehested, when the pressure's on, he delivers. Here we go. Fleet race number 5, and at Mark 1, it will be the Danes and the Spanish with New Zealand in the mix.
Spain just did enough to get over the top there. Tactical positioning by Denmark meant they hold on to second, and New Zealand their third. Well, this is the first look at the front of the fleet for those 3 boats. Spain are away. Can they make things stick? But the big story here is going to be Canada. They're way out the back. Look, they're only just rounding Mark 1 at this stage. Australia are in the pack as well. The sprint down to Mark 1. The tactical positioning in these next minutes are going to be crucial. Here go New Zealand. First to manoeuvre. Spin out behind Rockwool. Denmark, well judged by Perling. Not a lot of distance there, and now it's a speed race down here. Who can find the best breeze? Who's well lined up for gate 2?
And it is close on that race to the final. Currently Denmark 38 points, Spain, Australia both on 37, and the Kiwis on 35. That could all change so quickly.
And New Zealand have done well there. That manoeuvre surprised the Danish. It was aggressive by Burling, perfectly judged, and the black foils, they're lined up well. If they can make it to gate 2 here, look how high they've got that black Kiwi boat flying out of the water. They're pressurising the Spanish. Spain have the advantage, but they'll all be wanting a simple left turn, is my guess from here. And New Zealand are back in it. It's really tight in the pack. Australia are about to gain the right of way. They'll be coming back towards Denmark and France with that right of way.
Are we clear on down?
Very crowded at gate number 2. Spain in control. Here comes New Zealand. Now they are up to second place, which would put them into the event final.
Disaster for Rockwool, Denmark. The French have manoeuvred in front of them. New Zealand indecisive. That was rare moment by Burling. He ummed and ahed about that one. That's let Tom Slingsby split the fleet in 2 there. Rockwool, Denmark are out the back. New Zealand have put themselves out. If he'd manoeuvred a little earlier on that New Zealand boat, he had the opportunity to cut across in front of Australia. How much are they going to regret that on board New Zealand? And more importantly, how much are Rockwool, Denmark going to regret it? Because they've dropped right back in the pack. Great news for Slingsby in Australia. Great news for Spain. Bottini's gone. He's down the road. And it could be now a battle for that 3rd place in the final.
This is a shorter race than we had yesterday. It was 7 legs yesterday. Because of the wind, they've shortened it down to 5 legs. So this is going to go really quick. There you see the Australians. They currently sit in 3rd place. They've got a spot in the final if it stays like this. Spain out in front. Germany up to 2nd place, non-factors.
And that bottom gate caused havoc in this race to the final. So that shifts it around a little bit. Australia and Spain and Canada will currently go through to the final if this holds.
But look how tight it is coming across the screen here. So Spain and Germany have the right of way. New Zealand have wriggled themselves back into it. Australia, they're well positioned. Basically, all these boats are pretty much neck and neck at the moment. There's not a lot in it. And at the moment, the black foils are the fastest boat on the course. Spain are ahead. They've got the best chance for gains, but everyone absolutely tied together on a very, very short piece of string.
Gap to the leader is changing constantly. It's only a matter of meters.
That's because nothing's in it. At the moment, it looks like the wind's rotated a little bit left. We can see New Zealand and Australia, they're progressing up our ladder lines very quickly, but they're going to need the wind to shift. If they can get a shift, it will be good news for New Zealand. If the wind stays as it is, it should be fine for Spain, but the black foils, wow, Burling, when the pressure's on, you think he's made a mistake, and they seem to have a turbo button.
So New Zealand, as it stands right now, they are in first place. They would make it into the final with their good friends, the Australians, and Spain would join them. Canada's still in the mix, so don't count out Phil Robertson just yet.
Todd, I don't believe it. The New Zealand crew have just absolutely powered past Australia. They have the right of way against Spain. The Black Foils could be winning this at the next gate.
Coming off a 6th place in the last race, it looks like they were left on the side of the road for dead, and here they are in the lead on this shorter race. Just 5 legs here in fleet race number 5.
Are you kidding me? Now look at it, the wind is shifted to the right. They're sailing nearly up the course here. It's like watching Neo from the Matrix read the breeze out there at the moment. He's just seeing it in digital form on board that Black Foils boat.
And there you've got the points as it currently stands. Australia on 40, Kiwis on 37, Spain and Canada tied on 35, but with Spain ahead of Canada, that means they win that tiebreak and would go through to the final.
Well, these last 2 legs are going to be exciting. Everyone trying to get in the top 3 position, and then we will have the event final for you. Only the top 3 teams battling out for 10, 9, and 8 points respectively in the overall season.
Here we go. Big moment as we come into the top of the course here. I think for New Zealand fans, maybe you can take a little bit of a breath and relax a bit because they look well lined up. They're sailing parallel to this yellow ley line. Should mean they've got a good chance of making the top gate with no more manoeuvres, but the wind is still rotated to the right. The shorter distance to sail is going to be the Spanish boat, so they're going to be back in the mix here. Canada struggling. Denmark. Oh, Rockwell. Denmark, when the pressure's on, they nailed a perfect start, and now they cannot make it stick.
A lot of chatter out on the course. Everyone wondering where the wind is going. Where will it be on these final 2 legs? Let's check in with Lisa Darman down on the water. Lisa, what are you seeing? Where's the favorable side?
Well, currently, I do think that there is more pressure on the right-hand side, and if they do come to this side, which is what has been working the other ones, then they get a really nice approach to that last turning mark, because I really think where the teams tactically position themselves on that last turning mark to the finish is really going to be the crux of this.
We'll see how it all plays out. Remember, it's a shortened course today from yesterday, just 5 legs as opposed to 7, so they'll make their way down to the bottom, and then it'll be a left-hand turn to the finish line. Everyone now scrapping for those last points to see who will be in the top 3.
Well, what an upwind leg there. I mean, that was one of the more dramatic SailGP upwind legs we've seen. Sehested out the back. That's disaster for Rockwool Denmark. Disaster for their season. Botin here, 3rd position he shows out at the moment, but he needs to overtake the French if he's going to hope to make the final.
And it all depends what's happening in that pack at the back. The Canadians at the moment are neck and neck with the Brits and the Swiss. So if they can stay in that position, good news for them, bad news for Spain. But it wouldn't take much for it to flip-flop.
I think the important thing to remember here is with these points, if we see any tie breaks, it's whoever finishes ahead of whoever on the water in the last race. So that could be crucial here. It's not actually set in stone certain for New Zealand here, despite being out in the front. But they've got to continue to do everything they can.
Stevie, Canada had a disastrous start on this 5th race, but remember, they had a great day 1 where they finished in 2nd place twice and then came up with a 6th on the 3rd race. But a 2nd again on this last race has them with the points they need.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's all about consistency, isn't it? It's a 5-race series to get to the grand final. Of course, it changed a bit here. Tight cross, Australia, France. That could be important in the long term of this event. Comfortable for the French here. Left-hand side of our screen's Canada. They're pushing the course as wide as they can, but they're struggling to overtake boats. And I think they do still need a couple of places. The Black Foils, there's the yellow line. Suggests they should be able to make it to the next mark, the final mark, in fact, with no more turns after this. But it's the battle behind them that's going to make the difference.
And it's all eyes on Spain and Canada on opposite sides of the course right now. There you see on the right-hand side, it was Spain, Canada on the left-hand side, and Spain now, by virtue of moving to 2nd place ahead of France, has got a spot in the final.
Yes, but they are tied on points with Canada. So if Canada ends up gaining that 1 more position, if they can get ahead of the Brits, which, it's just flicked there, if they can hold that, that would put them in the final.
Do we need to pass the boat here, or just stay in front of GBR?
How interesting is that? Hearing from the coach, he's asking the coach on the shore, the technology in SailGP, unbelievable.
Here we go as they come to the finish line. Once again, pulling a rabbit out of the hat. It's the Kiwis as they come in, and they will get the win.
Spain have got to keep clear. They've got to keep clear of France there. That could, oh my word, they pushed that. That surely, oh, they're going to get away. It's an overtake anyway. The penalty should be cleared, but Australia coming in fast. They're going to shoot round the Spanish. I think this is disaster for Spain. Yep. Another penalty. They've got to lose distance. It was a blatant foul, but it's cleared there. Now here comes the Australians. This is disaster. Oh, the Aussies going to get all the way round to second.
This will cost the Spain that position in the final.
They just tried to force it too much with France, and Tom Slingsby takes advantage. Outeridge on board the Swiss boat 6, but for the Spanish, my lord, that's painful. But in the background, Spain are losing points. I think
this is getting far too complicated.
It's Canada that has dropped back to 9th place now. So Switzerland comes across in 6th, winners of the last race. Emirates GBR maybe doing Spain a solid, because Emirates GBR now in 7th with Sehested in 8th.
And with Canada making that error, that actually saves the Spanish, and that will see Australia, New Zealand, and the Spanish into the final.
Emily working overtime on the abacus. I mean, that thing was crazy. And for Canada, it started terribly, Stevie. In the middle of the pack, they worked their way up, and then that last leg just did them in.
Oh, and that could be the season. I mean, to me, that could be Canada's chance of making the season final gone in that one moment, because they've been sailing so well. They've got themselves right back in the mix. And I thought they were a dead cert for the final. But if anything's sure, it's nothing sure.
Canada finishes on same points with Spain, but Spain, even with that penalty and near collision with France, they punched their ticket in to the event final.
That is the final, okay? With Canada. I get that.
Diego's still doing the math on board. Well, let's go back to the crazy start at race number 5.
And it was all about Spain in that start line. They had plenty of space until the French decided that they were going to come in, but the Spanish chose to turn down towards the line instead of blocking France, and it meant perfection for the Spanish, who hit the line at the fastest speed and managed to roll over the rest of the fleet to get to Mark 1 first.
Well, it was not really a race from there. We see a rare moment of hesitation from Burling. Look how late he turns relative to that main pack. He put himself right back in it on board the black foils. They suddenly went from a pretty fair second to back in the pack. Does that matter? Doesn't seem to. Dropped the turbo button here. Look how high that black foils boat was sailing. Turned on the afterburners, turned a 5th into a 1st, and well, turned a no-show in the final, just to a place in the final. Spain made it hard for themselves. Bit of a tight battle with the French, but wow, excitement.
Excitement to the very end, no question about it. So it has now gone official. It is Australia on 40 points. They are in. 37 points sees the Kiwis somehow find a way in as well. And Spain, even on Canada, but they finished ahead of them in the last race. Spain finishes 4th, Canada 9th, so Spain gets the nod and the tiebreaker. They're in. Disappointing day for Canada and Rockwell, Denmark. It looked like they were a surefire fit after yesterday to get into the event final. Just doesn't happen. Lisa Darmanin down with a very disappointed Canadian squad.
Phil, I mean, it was neck and neck going into the final, but I'm sure your team's pretty disappointed right now, but you pushed until the end.
Yeah, we're pretty disappointed. That was a really average race on our part, and we had plenty of opportunities. We sailed ourselves back into it and then sailed ourselves back out of it on that last downwind. It was, yeah, pretty amateur, to be honest.
And those starts, they're so difficult if you get them wrong, especially in these conditions. What kind of went on your boat?
Yeah, it is difficult, the starting and the stuff and all of it, to be honest. Like, getting it all right is quite a complex thing to do, but yeah, we just didn't quite execute that start and actually just got hooked by the Danish at the end, and yeah, so 10th around Mark 1, it's pretty tough to come back from, and that's where we finished.
And overall, I'm not really sure how this puts you, but do you think that you're still in the mix as we go into the last 3 events and your home event?
But you're always in the mix, you know. It's capsize like USA, or, you know, it's one mistake and you're 10 points out, and one crash and you're out the back as well. So you're always in the mix, and yeah, we're looking forward to Halifax. You know, we're 1 month away. It's going to be an epic event. The home crowd is already growing and building, and I think we're going to blow SailGP out of the water when we get to Halifax in terms of spectators and how good the event is.
Well, we might want to actually talk to your wing trimmer, CJ, if he comes over here. CJ, you guys had an amazing day yesterday, but it just goes to show you're never safe, no matter how many points you've got.
Yeah, you know, we finished that race having got 4 seconds out of 5 races, you know, so it's not something you expect to miss the final after a result like that. You know, we were talking that we've got to just get a top 5, which we'd only not done once the whole regatta. So, yeah, pretty disappointed to come out in last in that race, but that's sport, you know. The highs aren't as high without the lows.
Well, the highs will be high when you're in Halifax, I'm sure, and you would want to put on a great show for the crowd there. Yeah,
we are all super excited for Halifax, you know. I've got a lot of family members in Canada coming to watch, and so do all the boys and girls, and yeah, everyone's super excited, so yeah, really cannot wait to get to our home venue.
Well, sorry not to see you in the final, but well done all weekend.
Yeah, you and us both. Cheers.
So the Canadians, unfortunately, are out, but they will look forward to Canada at Halifax June 1st and 2nd. Wow, what an exciting 5th and final fleet race here at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. It is official. New Zealand, Australia, and Spain will have a 1 race off to see who takes home the title here in the Great Sound and Bermuda. Racing on the Edge takes a look at how the Black Foils nearly made their home event final and how it's all changed in the overall scoreboard. Biggest news is the return of Kiwi Peter Burling for his home event. He will be more than willing to prove that the Aussie victory in the last Grand Prix was a one-off.
Incredible to see the Aussies take so long to get a win on the board this season. They obviously got one against us when we were in a slightly weakened squad, so yeah, looking forward to trying to beat them again.
It's Peter Burling time right now to stick the knife in, saying, yeah, you should be worried about me.
Push for the line to the white. Perfect start there. Wow.
Oh, wow, what a mountain to climb for the Kiwis to qualify. It's going to take a legendary comeback.
It looks like the New Zealander team are not going to make the final at the home event.
They need to overtake the Spanish to get in the final. Spain has decided to turn left to cover Canada. Pete doesn't follow.
Just have to pass one boat in front.
Here come the Black Foils, faster than everyone else.
We managed to pass him on the next beat, which I think brought the biggest cheer I've ever heard from a sailing crowd.
Kiwis, French and Canadians will be the boats that go through to this final race.
Kiwis there on the inside, they have control. They should lead from here at Block 1.
At mark number 1, it is the Kiwis. The Black Foils are up and floating with pace.
Hear the crowd on the shore. That sounds like half of New Zealand standing up to applaud them.
Say hello to your winners. It's the Black Foils with the win.
I think winning at home is one of the most special things in sport. It's just unbelievable.
A hero's welcome. What a day of racing here. Look at New Zealand. They now are the leaders.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
We are just moments away from the event final here at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. This is event 10 of 13 with Halifax on the horizon. We've still got business to handle here with New Zealand, Australia, and Spain. Returning to Bermuda for its 3rd year, SailGP's Inspire program continues to develop its better sports strategy in the community. From local talent racing in the Floating Wasp to schools doing STEM-related base tours. Just 2 years ago, Bermudian Kieran Wilson did work experience with Inspire and now lives in Southampton in the UK as a full-time boat builder for SailGP Technologies. He's back home this weekend working on the F-50s and is a great example of the Inspire pathway at SailGP.
Meanwhile, on the water, we had the next generation of Inspire participants. 9 of the best young sailors from Bermuda and the UK have been going head-to-head in another edition of Inspire Racing. This is one of the most contested events of the season, with all the sailors having previous foiling experience. It was a close battle between Ben Anderson from the UK, Root Purves from Scotland, and Bermudian Sebastian Kemp, a previous youth world champion who is currently campaigning for the 2028 Olympics. Ultimately, though, the 15-year-old Brit took the win in the tricky light wind conditions.
Well, and what an upgrade for coming out from British sailing conditions at this time of year out there. Beautiful blue waters in the Great Sound and perfect foiling venue for these wasps. Such a great opportunity for the young sailors. They're out there racing alongside the F50s.
You couldn't have a more perfect place for them to meet some of their heroes.
Well, congratulations to all the sailors. Spectacular action and a great fun in the Sound.
And Emily, as a Bermuda native, explain to us what the Seagrass Project's all about.
So it's this really cool project where they're using underwater protective cages that are stopping the turtles from eating the seagrass. Now, there are 1,500 square meters of cages already set up over on 14 sites around Bermuda. And this is important because it creates healthy habitats for the marine animals to thrive. And ultimately, that increases biodiversity, which is critical in maintaining healthy and happy ecosystems.
Let's keep Bermuda beautiful so we can keep coming back. SailGP coming to Bermuda for the third consecutive time. It is one of the most spectacular places anywhere in the world. Well, finishing in third place and getting a spot in the event final is Spain. Diego Botín and his squad made it interesting to the very end. Diego, if we can have a word with you, tell us about that final leg and that final gate. What was going through your mind as France closed in so tight on you?
Yeah, we were like quite in a comfortable position to make it into the final, and yeah, we shared the comms quite a lot in the boat, and I got wrong one comm, and we went too early on the board drop, and yeah, this made our life very, very hard. Luckily, we didn't crash with the French, which was a potential penalty point situation, and we just made it into the final. So yeah, it was very emotional until the end, but turned out okay. Now we are focusing to try and make a good final race.
And Nicole, what changes now there's just 3 boats? Is there a big change of strategy for you?
Yeah, I think it becomes sorry, it was off. I think it becomes a way more open course, just 3 of us, so yeah, maneuvers and getting all of that right is going to be important.
Okay, nice. And for Florian, is there anything now going to change? You've got a bit more space on the course. Can we expect to see the Spanish boat turn on the speed boost?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just said that probably the windward start won't pay off so much anymore, as we're a smaller fleet. Don't tell the others, but we're trying to not be the furthest windward boat. And from there we'll see. But for sure we expect 2 teams that are going to be very aggressive around the course, and it's a great opportunity for us to try to put that into practice and keep learning to be as aggressive as the top teams.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Florian Triddle, Nicole van der Velde, and Diego Botín. We wish you the very best of luck. And, Stevie, I know the fans that are cheering for this team, they won in Los Angeles. Keep it in fuego, and they seem to just make that work.
Yeah, I mean, this Spanish team, we know that they sort of want to get the team sold. They've got some great progress in selling the team, and what a potential opportunity to do that here. Go and win the final against the best in the business, and I think they can do it.
In New Zealand, the Black Foils, somehow they found a way, didn't have the best start, but I'll tell you what, you talk about it, Stevie, the consistency that Peter Burling and his crew bring to this is amazing. We go on board now with the Kiwis, Peter Burling and company, and Pete, that was an exciting one at the very end. Were you guys doing math on board, or did you know you were safe?
What do you mean, somehow, mate? You're definitely not filling us with a lot of confidence. No, we knew we kind of needed to make a little bit happen there in that last race, but we were obviously really tight with Denmark and Spain. So as soon as we got Spain up there last B with Denmark and Canada right at the back, we were definitely through. So it's good to get out of dry and save your best for last.
Pete, you got a better start in that race, really got yourself in the race, but then, I mean, that first upwind leg, it was like you just hit the nitros button or something. I was going to ask your old mate next to you there, Blair Tuke, but he's got his comms off. What are you doing on those upwind legs? I mean, that was just amazing.
Oh, we enjoy sailing upwind here. Yeah, have for a very long time since the Cup days, but
yeah, it's just such a beautiful spot. I think we got either lucky or, managed it well, but yeah, bottom edge are two really good shifts, and there's a fair bit going on the course out here, so if you can string a couple together, you gain a whole heap, so won't be over till the end in this race.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was luck, mate, but anyway, final now, what's the difference?
Obviously 3 boats, you'll see everyone trying to get a whole heap more run-up than they were in the other races, but it just kind of comes down to a lot more your boat on boat, a lot more boat speed. Traditionally that suited us, so hopefully we can put another one together today.
All right, Pete, we appreciate your time. It looks like your commentator days are going to have to wait a little bit longer, so thanks again for getting such a great show. Peter Burley and the Black Foils once again back in to the final. Remember, they won the last event in Christchurch, so they are on a roll. And the third and final protagonist in this final, it'll be Australia. Tom Slingsby's in there. Just a short time ago, we spoke with Lisa Darmanin and explained what they needed to do to get the win.
After a really tough first race, felt like we hit that bottom mark with all our contenders for the final, and we were fortunate to able to punch through it. But yeah, we're having a few issues with the boat, the settings. I'm not sure what's sort of happened overnight, but we put in the light air boards and we're really struggling to get good connection on the drops, and then twice in a row the Kiwis have sailed straight past us upwind and like we're standing still. So we've got a few issues going on, and but yeah, we'll do our best. Not full of confidence right now because we're not sailing. Doesn't feel like we've got the speed at the moment, but we'll try to change some things and see how we go in the final.
Well, you finished after the 5 races in first overall. You've won here before. What do you need to do in this final? Once I let you go, you're going to do some practice racing, practice starts?
Yeah, we are. We're going to head over. You can see the Kiwis, our rivals, into a practice start now. So we're going to do the same, and we're going to, we'll give it our best. We'll see how it plays out.
And it looks like if you fall off the foils, it's really painful to get back up.
Yeah, the bottom mark is about 40 metres from shore, and it's like there's a bit of an inversion layer there where it gets really light at the bottom mark. So very hard to get back into the race if you fall off the foils.
Well, I know you're ready to go, so I'll let you go. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, the makings are there, Stevie, Emily, when you've got the Aussies and the Kiwis in there together and you throw in a little caliente Spanish, this is going to be a nice little dish.
Well, yeah, and this is, let's not forget, this is the top 3 teams on the season leaderboard as we stand at the moment, and they're only extending their lead in that position right now. So, good news, great opportunity for the Spanish here. You're up against the big guns, let's see what you got.
New Zealand, Australia, Spain, welcome to the final. The course is now 5 LG1, 5 LG1. The axis is 035, length is 0.6 nautical miles. Good luck.
There you go. So the axis, they're talking about the wind direction. The wind direction's blowing from 030, so just a little bit east of north out there on the water, and a 0.6 nautical mile leg. So it's similar leg to what we've had before. Quite a big course with 3 boats, and as all the teams have alluded to, we're on board with them now. It's going to be a little bit more of a boat speed race. They should be able to sail their own paths out there a bit more. But you can't help thinking in these conditions who gets first to mark 1's pretty powerful.
It's going to be interesting here to see where the Spanish team set up. In that interview, Flo was really open with their plan going forward. He said, we don't want to be the most windward boat. So that's that left-hand side of the screen, that mark, they don't want to be there. So let's see where they do end up putting themselves.
Where you want to be and where you end up is supposedly 2 different things, especially when you've got the Aussies and the Kiwis going at it. And as Stevie pointed out, these are the top 3 teams on the overall standings, with New Zealand in first, Australia in second, and Spain currently in third.
Well, no good battle plan survives contact with the enemy at that first time. So here we go. New Zealand and Australia, they're tied together at the bottom. Spain are going to be the team with the run-up at things here. Right-hand side of our screen, that's the downwind end of the line. Most teams will want to be there. Most teams are going to be able to have a run-up. Spain and Australia and New Zealand up on the foils. Spain looking a little late on proceedings here. They got to pop up on the foils. There they go. They're going to wind it up at the top. Our pole predictor says they're perfectly placed at the moment. Rope-a-dope from the Spanish at the moment, as they are the most upwind boat. But can they get over the top of the black foils? Who can get it here? Pole predictor really showing the Spanish good. They make a late move down the line. How's your time in there, Botín? You look like you could have judged this just to perfect. Watch the line turn right. It's go here. The Spanish, what a move. They've slung on to the inside, timed it well. Fastest angle with New Zealand, but the Spanish have the tactical inside position. New Zealand are going to have to open the afterburners from here.
As they approach mark number 1, it is Spain out in front with New Zealand and Australia. This is the event final of the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix.
Oh, pole predictor looks pretty good from there. It's judged it well. Some move by Bottine. He pulled it out the bag. They lead at mark 1. Australia at the back. Slingsby's going to be looking to make a move. And now, here we go. Time to settle the heart rates down. The Spanish now will be all about when do the boats behind manoeuvre? When can we make it to the gate with no more turns?
And the Spanish, currently the fastest boat on the course, almost 60 kilometers an hour. They're on the breach. They have the highest average speed.
Once again, though, New Zealand done a lovely job with that little slingshot jibe, surprising the Spanish there. Spain have gone wide. They'll be enjoying the bit of space on the course. It's all about finding good wind now. We can see breeze moving down the course, but these boats go faster than the wind. So look slightly to the right of them for the wind they're going to sail into. Quite good news for Australia at the moment, but the Spanish still look fairly comfortable. Boat speed's very similar at the top of the mast, and it's going to be a couple more manoeuvres for New Zealand and Australia to get to the gate. It'll be interesting if Spain can get in there in one.
And there we go, the Spanish boat speed is building now. They are the fastest boat on the course, slightly more breeze, 22 kilometers an hour compared to 20 on Australia at the top of the screen.
The question is, though, can Diego Bottine and the Spanish hold on to this lead? Two of the very best in the business, with Tom Slingsby and Peter Burling are in this race as well. This is a little longer than the race you saw just prior. This is a 7-leg race, Stevie, so does that change things, or is the Spanish team comfortable in holding them off for this long?
Well, it means you try and stay in the race a little bit more early on. I think the Spanish here are going to sail their own path. I think they're quite an easy opportunity to actually just turn in front of New Zealand and block their manoeuvre to the right turn. So I'm surprised they've given the Kiwis the leverage first, but they've had the first pick. They'll have been able to look for the wind, they'll have been able to make their choice, and now it kind of depends which way does the first wind shift goes. If the wind rotates towards the right of our screen, be good news for the Spanish team. If it rotates left, good news for New Zealand and Australia. 8 seconds is a big gain at gate 1, though.
Well, the good news is we've got a reporter down on the water, Lisa Dorman, and what are you seeing? What do you think for the conditions with this being a 7-leg race?
I think a 7-leg race and also more room on the race course means that there's a little bit more opportunity for manoeuvres. But as we were hearing, it is a lot lighter. The manoeuvres are way more costly. Right now, Spain, they're in really good pressure. I think that they do have the better shift, so it's in the right, which means that they're sailing slightly less distance. I think that they will cross New Zealand in this. Australia, though, they look like they've lost on New Zealand.
And there are the wind speeds, just as Lisa has predicted. The Spanish are in better breeze and a better shift there. As we heard in the interview with Nicole, she did say the right-hand side was where they were ending up, or wanted to end up, and they did it.
Well, they did, but have a look at that. Remember, it was an 8-second difference at gate 2. Already the black foils have, well, it's got to be down to 2 seconds at most there. And when the boats meet up again, the rules-wise, who's got the right-of-way? Well, it'll be New Zealand that have the right-of-way. So if it is close, it's going to be pressure on Spain. But as we say, it's an open racetrack. But all the teams are choosing to sail fairly freely. I think the wind's fairly average on the shift at the moment. Both look like they're moving up the course fairly similar amount. But New Zealand are sailing to the side where traditionally, or not traditionally, where today we've seen a little bit more wind on average.
And when we look at the modes that these teams are sailing, so far we're seeing the Spanish sailing wider angles, so further away from the marks, but at a faster speed. Meanwhile, the Kiwis, sticking true to their form this weekend, they're sailing at a slightly slower speed, but they are sailing less distance and more direct towards the mark.
Here, look at that good angle of the wind for Spain at the moment. They're sailing nicely up the ladder lines, but right away with New Zealand in the background, they get a little high. Ooh, good catch. 100% foil flight time all round. Australia flying the highest at the moment, but New Zealand have the right of way. The Spanish are going to have to think about this. Do they turn in front of Spain? I think you try and turn in front of New Zealand if you can, but the Kiwis are going to be faster. Tight moment here. Spain owns the mark. The black foils have got the most speed at the moment. Spain holds on. Great tactical sailing by Bottine. Expect an attack on this downwind from the black foils.
Diego Bottine and the Spanish get to that yellow circle first. They take the priority. It slows down the Kiwis. And so now it is Spain who got the whole shot at mark number 1. They are back into first place. Burling now in second place. And this is going to be a great and very important leg, Stevie and Emily, as they make their way down course.
And we saw some expert boat handling there by the Spanish team. We saw as they turned that they kept both boards in the water for an extended period of time. And this is because it was crucial in that maneuver to stay up on the foils at all costs. So it is a a little bit slower when you put both foils in the water for a long time, more drag, but it ensures you stay up on the foils and can get up to speed quickly.
Stevie, in this position, though, are the black foils getting the disturbed air from Spain?
No, the black foils would be trying to put the disturbed air onto Spain, but I think the Spanish actually sailed an angle a little bit away from the wind to tactically position for this move. They've positioned themselves well. They took a little loss to have a long-term gain. They will now be looking to put disturbed air down onto the New Zealand team, and that's going to be good down the rest of the leg.
And this on the bottom left is a little summary from that previous leg, so you can see what I was talking about with the Spanish sailing slightly more distant than the Kiwis. Well, the Kiwis are opting for that 2.0.
Really tight down here. There will be a little bit of disturbed air going onto the New Zealand boat, but not a lot. The Spanish have positioned really well. Fantastic tactical sailing. Took a little loss at the top for control, but expect the Kiwi. Here we go. Black foils are going to split away, and I think the right turn has worked well for them so far today. Both boats turned the mark, and it looks to me like what was 8 seconds is going to be 0 seconds. Absolutely neck and neck at that bottom mark there. 1 second in it. There's nothing in it. Who finds the most wind? Spain sailing to Breeze. But what have New Zealand found on this side of the course?
And you heard Giga Botin say as they went around the gate, good pressure here, so he's looking to make some changes and hopefully pick up some distance.
And there's the live speeds, both wind speed and boat speed. The Spanish are sailing so quick at the moment, 50 kilometers an hour. They're only dropping now because they have turned.
Here we go. Pretty decisive moment in the race here. It looks like a nice choice early on the leg for the Spanish. Burling won't like what he sees at the moment, but if the wind rotates towards the left of the course, that will be good news for the black foils. Here we go. How well do they stick this manoeuvre?
Look at that choreography. Burling comes across there and just keeps it up.
I think that was a pretty good manoeuvre. The wind looked a little bit light, but right now that is a gain to the Spanish. Big gain. Huge move there. 100-meter lead there in the blink of an eye. Opportunity here for the Spanish to lock things down. They're far enough ahead to turn the boat directly in front of New Zealand and get themselves going the same way. I'd be surprised if the Spanish continue and give a separation to New Zealand now.
And if you're just joining us, this is the event final at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. These are the 3 teams with the most points. It is Spain out in front, New Zealand in second, Australia in third. They're going to go to the top of the course, come back down the course, and then a quick left-hander to the finish line. And in a matter of minutes, we're going to find out who's going to claim the title.
So the Spanish had a 100-meter lead there. It is dropping rapidly now down to almost only 60 meters of lead as they came across that bottom side of the course, giving a little more advantage to the Kiwis. It'll be interesting to see what happens after this next turn.
Steve, if I'm Spain and I've seen what the black foils have done all weekend long, I want a pretty sizable lead as I get around this next gate.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised they kind of let that gap open up. If the Spanish can make it to this gate with no more manoeuvres, I think that could be a good move there. But they're going to let separation form again with the black foils. It looks like the Spanish are setting up, so they're going to try and block New Zealand. They've got a big enough lead. I think, yeah, they look comfy. They look calm. There you go. No rush. Good comms from Florian Trittle. And, yeah, I think the black foils, they're fast, but they're making some little mistakes. And here you go. They're trying to split away from the fleet. Huge amount of heel. Not a great manoeuvre by the black foils.
Look at the Kiwis.
They're trying to force things.
3, 2, 1.
So was that a case of the Kiwis see more pressure on that side of the course, or they just wanted to split the course and get away from the Spanish?
Last roll of the dice, I'd say that was, Todd, because they did not do a great manoeuvre. That was a last-minute decision. It's left the Aussies back in. They will have a chance on this downwind leg. At least they're on separate sides, but this is big advantage Spain right now.
To me, that final manoeuvre by Spain could have been the race-winning moment, forcing the Kiwis to turn away and come off the foils.
And don't look now, but Tom Slingsby back in the mix. He would love to pick up another position and somehow pass Peter Burling and the Kiwis. Remember, nothing will change in the overall, despite the fact that these 3 teams are battling in the event final, because this is 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it's 10 points to the winner, 9 for second, 8 for third. And with New Zealand with a 9-point lead on Australia, they will not lose the overall, but Australia would love to pick up yet another point.
Yeah, I think at the moment the Spanish crew are sailing back into good wind here, right of ways with New Zealand, but that's too big a lead here. Botin and Trittle have absolutely nailed this one. They've put a brilliant race together after a perfect start. Advantage Spain at the moment. If they can make it with no more manoeuvres, it looks good. Like at the moment, they look like they're aiming for that mark, and they're comfy on New Zealand.
Spain all dressed up and looking for suitors as they are looking for new sponsorships, and what a way to put this on your CV.
Pressure here. Looks good.
Very nice indeed as Diego Botín comes around this last mark. Winners in Los Angeles, and it is Spain who gets into the final here in Bermuda by a tiebreaker. And give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
Oh, vamos, Ligallas.
Amazing moment for this Spanish team, stealing the win from the Australians and the New Zealanders.
What a moment. I mean, what an arrival in SailGP, really, to beat the two top teams by a long way. It's a great result again for the Black Foils. Australia, well, they'll be happy to get the wheels back on the bus, but for Spain, what an incredible result, and well done to that crew, because they nailed the start when the pressure was on.
One of the youngest teams in SailGP, and they come up with yet another victory. They back up Los Angeles with a big win here in Bermuda. What a performance, Stevie. We talked about it, Emily. The start was going to be the key, and it looked like Spain was, they just miscalculated it, and then that maneuver. We talked about the big moments. Emily, you talked about that last leg. I think you go back to that start where he took the chance, Stevie, and thread the line.
Yeah, I just think he knew what he wanted to do. He lined it up, and then with that little bit more space on the line, he could be aggressive. He was aggressive, and he made it stick. But yeah, what a start.
And they executed exactly what they said. I think it wasn't miscalculated at all. They set themselves up knowing that they wanted to get that inside edge. And so they set themselves up back, got up on the foils, built their speed, ducked the other two, and got the point on their line that they told us in their interview they wanted to get. Brilliant execution by the Spanish team.
They did that well, and they were fast then, weren't they, Todd? They stayed fast across towards Mark 1, and the inside tactical position was pretty key. They got first pick of things at the bottom of the course here, took that left turn. That didn't work out so well for them, and I think right now, probably most sailors in the world thought, well, here come the Black Foils, and we're going to see another overtake. And it was tight, but it was that manoeuvre there that the crew executed perfectly and made stick in front of the Kiwis, and then the little tactical manoeuvre to slip down inside New Zealand, set up the final downwind leg, and yeah, they absolutely nailed it from there. And this is the best teams in the world racing at it, and they put pressure on the Kiwis because the Black Foils were forcing things come the end of the race, and we haven't said that for an awfully long time in SailGP. Brilliant by the Spanish, and what's that going to mean for their championship? Just incredible stuff.
Ultimately, it was the Spanish team's tactical decisions around the racecourse that set them up some brilliant numbers here. So their average speed was 53 kilometers an hour around the racecourse, and they only sailed 9.2 kilometers compared to the Kiwis. Now, ultimately, what they managed to do was force the Kiwis to do those extra maneuvers that you see and force them off the foils in that final maneuver. So less fly time for the Kiwis gave the Spanish team that advantage, less maneuvers, less distance, higher speed, race win.
What's amazing about these results are these teams, Spain, New Zealand, Australia, those are the winners of the last three events. Australia won on their home waters, New Zealand won on their home waters, and now Spain comes to Bermuda. These may be their adopted home waters because the Spanish look so good today from the start to the finish, Stevie. There were times where they probably could have made a mistake. They could have caved under the pressure of New Zealand and Tom Slingsby in Australia, and they didn't do it. Diego Botín and that very young crew, they rise to the occasion, and they will claim the 10 points and the title here in Bermuda. What a moment and what a day of racing. It was between Australia, New Zealand, and Spain. Australia coming back from that disastrous crash in Christchurch. We go on board now with their driver, Tom Slingsby. Tom, it's great to see you guys back in the final. Crazy conditions from yesterday, the practice on Friday, and then what was the situation in this final? What was the difference in your mind?
We didn't have a great start in the final. We didn't do a good last tack into the line, unfortunately, and we just couldn't build speed. So it was a bit frustrating, but yeah, congratulations to Spain, their first win.
Well, so yeah, the first time they've sort of won against you big guns, as it were, out there. They had to come out and prove themselves, and it was a fantastic race. But must be positive for your team, though. It'll be a tough event in Christchurch, and wheels are very much back on the wagon now, Tom.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's nice to get a good result here. We won the fleet racing and then obviously a frustrating final, but yeah, we're back and looking forward to the next event now.
We'll take time to talk to Tosh Bryant. Tosh, as the strategist out there, you guys got yourself into the final. That's job number one. Job two, though, obviously, is trying to find a way to get around the Kiwis and the Spanish today. With this big of a course, was it challenging to find that pressure out there?
Yeah, obviously, when you start a little bit behind, it's really tricky to get past everyone, especially in such like today where everyone can sail pretty well. So yeah, really tough, but hopefully we'll come back well in Halifax.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, team, and yeah, good to see you back and performing so well.
So the Australians will stay in second place as they pick up some more points and try to close the gap on New Zealand, who are the overall leaders. And they turn their attention now, of course, to Halifax, Canada. That's coming up on June 1st and 2nd. So less than a month's time as they will make their way north in the Atlantic. And Peter Burling and the Kiwis, the black foils, always make it interesting. They were exciting, they were consistent, and that's what they do. But in the end, it just didn't have the speed for Spain. We go on board now. Peter Burling, you guys are notorious for giving great starts. Were you surprised that Diego Boutin tried to thread the needle on the left side of that course?
Yeah, I wouldn't have quite said consistency was our forte this weekend. But yeah, great to pull out a couple of great results at the end. Obviously, get that win to get our way through to the final, and then we ended up a little bit deep, a little bit compromised. You know, attacking the Aussies really at the start, which kind of handed it to the Spanish, and you know, they sailed an awesome race.
Blair, we've not heard a lot from you all weekend there, mate. That black foil boat seems to be going pretty well with you out there. At what point in a race like that do you feel like you've got to roll the dice? You had the Spanish under a lot of pressure, and then it seemed like at some stage you decided you just got to go for it. When does that happen in the race for you?
Probably that last top mark was the time we went for it. You know, we did really good work after them leading at Mark 1 to hang tough and just dip them on that first upwind. Maybe an opportunity there at the top, which we'll have to review, where we could have maybe split. But yeah, from there they sailed a great race, and we couldn't quite get them.
All right, Pete, Liv, and Blair, thank you guys so much for your time. And again, you pick up another point on the Australians, so you maintain your lead over them by another point in first place. So New Zealand finishes in second place as we now go on board with Lisa Darmanin, who is standing by with the winners. Spain takes the win here at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix.
Well, congratulations, Nicole and Diego. I know you want to celebrate with your team, but how special was that win, Nicole?
It was amazing to have a battle with the Aussies and the Kiwis, who are clearly two of the top teams, and to be able to fight with them hand on hand and come out on top, it's an amazing feeling.
Not only were you leading, but you were pretty combative there and extended your lead, Diego.
Yeah, I mean, we get on well with the ships in the second part of the race, but I think the key part wasn't that. And yeah, we kept it clean from there. It's been a very emotional day for us. We really wanted to make that final, and coming out with a win here is just amazing.
You almost didn't make the final. You were there on cowpack.
Yeah, we made a big mistake in the last mark rounding, and we almost lost it there. Many of us thought that we lost it, and yeah, it was close. It's SailGP, I guess.
And your top three overall, obviously haven't had a win since LA, but how are you going to celebrate?
Just being all together, have a nice dinner. Our CEO always has a nice dinner tonight, so I guess cash in on that for sure.
And I'm not sure how the overall points are working out, Diego, but obviously you've got 3 events left after this one. You just want to keep making finals?
Yeah, the way we see it is we just need to keep sailing the same way and try to put as many points as we can on our board and avoid those penalty points. That we had a close one with the friends today with potential penalty points. So yeah, keep focusing on everything we are doing.
Well, you fly the flag and pop the champagne and enjoy the celebrations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And the celebration continues for Spain, their second win of season 4. And just moments ago, the Honorable Owen Darrell, Bermuda's Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, able to give them the trophy out on the Great Sound. I'll tell you what, Emily, this was an amazing performance. As Diego Botín said, they almost threw it away. They almost didn't even get in this position, and here they are now celebrating.
It was a magical moment for the Spanish team, but also quite fitting. Did you know that Bermuda was actually discovered by a Spanish sailor back in the 1500s? One day Bermuda. So you could say this was just meant to be.
That's local knowledge right there, Stevie.
That's some incredible local knowledge, and have a look at those scenes. I mean, it is amazing, isn't it, high-level sport, how things can sort of flip at the press of a button, can't they, really, and change around so quickly as it did for the Spanish. I thought they'd completely blown it, and here they are. They've put on an absolute masterclass, because if you beat Tom Slingsby and that Australian crew and Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew in the final, you're the real deal. So Spain are here. The overalls, have a look at the overalls. Yes. Okay, New Zealand, Australia, but look at the distance between Spain and Rottwell Denmark, 9 points. That's massive. You could start to say it's Botin's to lose now.
And this may be a look at what we'll see in San Francisco again. We've still got 2 more events in Atlantic waters, that being Halifax and New York City, before we get to San Francisco. So, Emily, a lot of things can happen. But to Stevie's point, look at the separation now between 3rd and 4th.
There are still plenty of points on the table. It isn't over yet for the Danish, French, Canadians, but it's definitely looking unlikely for USA, Emirates GBR, Germany, and Switzerland.
Still work to be done here in Season 4, but the next stop, we are moving on, and we are moving north. Halifax, Nova Scotia, keeping things in the Atlantic, keeping that theme rolling along nicely. It will be June 1st and 2nd, the first time SailGP has come into Canadian waters, and as Phil Robertson and CJ said, they are excited to bring the heat to Halifax. The fans will be turning out in force for what should be an amazing event. So we're all looking forward to going to Halifax, Canada. That will be event number 11. Emily, you've sailed into Halifax before, and the fans, they love a good race.
Halifax is such a stunning part of the world and also has such a rich maritime heritage. So I can expect the teams are going to have an amazing time there racing. They've hosted some of the Olympic class events as well. So some of these sailors do have experience racing on Halifax waters. So it should be pretty competitive.
And Stevie, I think we're going to see some very aggressive teams. The Americans will be back in the mix again, racing again. They'll want to do some good things. Canada will want to defend home waters, and Denmark will certainly be looking for points.
Yeah, we've just seen how close it all is in SailGP. I mean, it's all on the line. There's still all to play for. There's no doubt about that. But come get the Spanish now.
So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, Lisa Darmanin, and our entire crew, I'm Todd Harris. Congratulations once again. Spain takes top honors here at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. We'll see you next month in Canada. This is the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. Who will be in the top 3?
He's too quick. That's going to get really tight.
And race number 4, it is Switzerland for the victory.
It's really loose on board that Swiss boat.
Once again, pulling a rabbit out of the hat, it's the Kiwis.
Oh, my word. The Spanish, what a move.
Give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
Oh, vamos a ganar.